Welcome back to the Sam JW channel. Gary Rowett's 100% record as Oxford United manager has come to an end, but a valuable point at Deepdale. Let's have a chat. So yes, it finishes at Deepdale. Preston North End 1, Oxford United 1, and I think it's fair to say this was an absolute pasting. The stats will tell you that, I mean, Preston could have won this game by 3-0, to be honest with you. And Oxford's goal was an absolute gift. We'll get into that in a minute. So Gary Rowett did make a couple of changes from the side that beat Millwall. The main ones being that Shemi Poheta came out of the side due to, as we talked about in that video, he picked up a little hamstring problem midway through the Millwall game and then came off with 20 minutes to go. He was rested here due to tiredness. Of course, he's played 3 games in a very short space of time, has the poll. So he got a rest, as did Elliot Moore. Elliot Moore, again, a forced change from that groin injury that he suffered at Millwall. So yeah, very much an altered Oxford side, but I mean, one of the changes, I think, as we'll get onto, I'm very happy with, but the other, you know, we talked about last video, I'm not happy with Matt Phillips' recent string of performances. So that meant that Peter Kioso started at right back, Sam Long started at centre back, Kieran Brown alongside him with Greg Lee in goal, of course, or at left back, I should say, Jamie Cumming, of course, in goal. Will Vaulks and Cameron Brannigan again in the midfield. Ruben Rodrigues again behind Mark Harris. Matt Phillips out wide with Tyler Goodrum on the left. Oxford forced into a very early change, that being that Mark Harris was replaced by Dane Scarlett. We've heard no update as of talking on Sparky's condition. It seemed like he went down under not a lot of no challenge from a Preston man. It's one of just a bit of tiredness and overexerting himself in recent games has finally caught up with him. I think this is his first major injury, if I recall correctly, for Oxford, so it was only going to be a matter of time, wasn't it? But that meant that Dane Scarlett came in to the side, and yeah, obviously we've played Preston already this season, beat them 3-1 after going behind. But their season has really rebounded. Obviously, they're sitting mid-table right now. And, it's fair to say that Paul Heckingbottom has done a pretty decent job picking up from where Ryan Lowe had them at the very beginning of the campaign. So, as I said, these stats, in all, we'll go through, we've been absolutely battered. As you can see, Oxford only have a grand total of 5 shots in the game, only 1 in that first half, and it's an absolute gift from Freddie Woodman. Leading up to that, though, Will Keane had a really good opportunity at the back post for the home side. There was a really good chance. It's driven. Let's see if I can find it on the shot map. It's one of these many ones. It must be this one from Greenwood, where he gets to the edge of the area after some really good play through the midfield from North End, and that was kind of the overall theme for Preston North End in this game. They were really well controlling the ball in the midfield area, not getting Oxford an awful lot of time to get out, progress with the ball. A couple of lax defensive mistakes in midfield, mistakes being made by Oxford, but all credit to North End for capitalising. And Sam Garud charges forward to the edge of the area, hits it low and hard, but it's saved by Jamie Cumming, who tips it round the post. It was the first of many for North End. As you can see, this is from the resulting corner. And yeah, a lot of these efforts, there's Whiteman with a bit of a wild effort, but it's still in a really decent area for the home side. Kessler Hayden, this was a really good chance. Another big save by Jamie Cumming, who was Oxford's man of the match in this game. Other than one moment, he's the only player that really stood out, to be honest with you. A lot of opportunities. Another one here from Sam Greenwood that's right at Jamie Cumming. Another big save by our keeper. This was the one at the back stick by Will Keane that just floats over the bar. And then we go at the other end. So this results in a fairly, or comes from, I should say, a fairly half-hearted attempt by Oxford to get the ball forward. Runs out of play, and Freddie Woodman on the goal kick tries to play it out to his centre halves, plays it right into the feet of Ruben Rodrigues, and much like the goal, I think it was the first one he scored against Leyton Orient last season, he does not pass up that opportunity. Ruben takes it in on his right foot, lashes it home. 1-0 Oxford, massively undeserved, obviously, as you can see by those first half stats, just how much Preston have been dominating the game. They've been much the better side. Oxford really, other than the move that led to the goal kick, had not been able to get out of our own half. So yeah, very much really poor from Preston North End's goalkeeper. But yeah, Ruben's going to take those all day long. Like I say, he's already had it twice in his Oxford career, one against Leyton Orient last season in the game where he got a brace. If you pass the ball straight to him, he's going to take that every day of the week. But after that, there was absolutely no change in the fact that Preston just continually more and more pressure being piled on by the home side, trying to find that leveller. Again, some relatively routine saves being made by Jamie Cumming. So you can see a 1.06 XG from 13 shots, 4 on target, 2 massive opportunities missed by Preston in that first half. I think it's fair to say that, going 1-0 up was wholly undeserved for Oxford. But like we talked about last time, you do expect for the most part, unless you've got a particularly forward-thinking manager who is and your side are able to get hold of the ball away from home, you expect to see this from sides near the relegation zone where they're absorbing all of that pressure and just trying to defend for their lives. Everyone putting their bodies on the line. So yeah, we go into half time, and as we can see, that's the momentum chart to half time. Absolutely extraordinary. 2 massively high peaks just before the half time. Yeah, and even the one that results from Ruben's goal is a period of the game where Preston were well on top of it. And yeah, it's just a disastrous mistake by Freddie Woodman. Second half, as we go into it, yeah, this was again an absolute pasting handed out to us by North End. We were a little bit better in the attacking third, but again, as you can see, 69% possession and then to 71% possession for the home side in that second half. A 1.08 XG. Look, their goal is, we'll talk about in a minute. It was coming. It was coming all game. But I would say I think Preston were better in the first half than they were the second half. But yeah, if we go to the first effort of the second half, it's from Kessler Hayden. It's a very tight angle. Has his shot blocked, I believe, by Sam Long. Then another one over the bar from Greenwood as he's fouled just on the edge of the area. Goodrum with Oxford's first effort, a really good bit of play, and one of Goodrum's few involvements. As you can kind of expect, a lot of Oxford fans I've seen be very harsh on Tyler Goodrum, on Dane Scarlett, on Ruben Rodrigues in the attacking third, but when your defence in your midfield can't get hold of the ball to then progress you forward, you're always going to be pretty much in the graveyard shift. There's a really nice bit of play from Goodrum as he comes a bit centrally, and it's a relatively routine save for Freddie Woodman through a crowd of bodies. But yeah, that's wasn't really wasn't a chance of much significance for Oxford. And then Ruben, as you can see, 6 minutes between the two shots. It shows just how few bits of this game Oxford actually had control of. A really good save from Woodman. Ball comes through, and Ruben is he's keeping himself on the penalty spot, waiting for the ball to come to him, and it's a really decent effort, saved well by the keeper, and then Preston got the other end and equalise. Look, it's really good work down the left hand side. Ball's whipped in, and the ball it confuses defenders and goalkeeper. I think Jamie Cumming thinks it's going to go out of play. I think Greg Lee thinks that either the ball's going out of play or Jamie Cumming's going to get it. Because what happens essentially is ball gets flung in from the left hand side. Will Keane, he stays alive to the danger. He follows the ball pretty much onto the goal line to nod it home. Greg Lee lets him go. And yeah, it's an equaliser for North End. It been coming, like I say, it was much deserved, especially from the chance that they had in that first half. And then it was very much a case of defend for our lives in the remaining 20 minutes of this game. Volks, this was from a very kind of weak bit of play through the midfield, where Volk just has tries to leather it home. And as you can see, these kind of very wild efforts, for all the possession that North End were having, there was an awful lot they were creating that was of much quality. Obviously, that goes hand in hand with the fact that Oxford created nearly nothing in that second half. A little bit of change with the introduction of Siriki Dembele. He looked lively, coming in on his right foot, driving at North End defenders, draws I think 2 fouls, one immediately he gets on the pitch, and then one, as you can see here, that results in Will Volks firing it into the wall. His substitution was a bright spot, but it's very much a case of this game's second half was two sides that lacking quality, other than of course the key moment for Will Keane to get his side level. So Oxford are more drop points from winning position. I will say it was a very fragile, undeserved winning position that we found ourselves in. Like I say, only proper chance of note was that one from Ruben Rodrigues, where he's gifted it by Freddie Woodman. Overall 70% possession for the home side, 2.15 XG, 19 shots, 5 on target, 3 big chances which they missed 2 of. Like I say, we got very lucky in this game, and if you see the way that they controlled the ball, almost 3 times as many passes attempted as Oxford managed, over 3 times the successful passes from the home side. Obviously a lot of them will be in your own half, but this is the more important one for the home side. It's just the sheer number they were able to put together in the opposition third, in our third. Yeah, this was very much a case of outplayed for the most part by Heckingbottom's side, but at the end of the day, points are shared. It's obviously we were going into this game off the back of 3 back-to-back wins. Look, this was always going to be a tough game. I said obviously last video that a point would have been big, and it is. We'll look at the table in just a minute. Quickly go through the 11. Obviously Jamie Cumming, I think, gets man of the match. Some massive saves made by our number 1, and some proper housery. Time wasting, gets booked early in the second half, doing what goalkeepers need to do. We've been on the receiving end of when the goalkeeper's just taking so long with the ball. You get frustrated. You're asking the ref to bring out the cards. Jamie did get booked. And yeah, it was very much the tactics of a team that are kind of like, especially before Will Keane's goal goes in, we were like, right, we need to probably sit on this 1-0 lead and try and scrap it. Of the back 4, so Kyoso comes off with a knock. He is replaced by Hider to Avest. It essentially becomes a little bit like a back 3, a back 4. Yeah, it's doesn't really work. Hopefully it's not another injury that we've suffered. It's a tricky one because, you know, we're only just getting a few players back from knocks, we've got 3 more now, or, you know, so that's always brilliant, isn't it? We also saw Jordan Thornley make his first appearance of the campaign, first appearance for Oxford since, I think it's since we got battered by Coventry in the FA Cup. I think that was his last appearance in a competitive game for Oxford United. He's been dealing with, I think it's with calf issues for the last kind of going on a year. That's what Des was saying, at least, when Des was at the club, that Thornley's been dealing with issues. So Thornley back, and to be fair, he put in a pretty decent performance in that back three, which meant Sam Long, Kieran Brown, and John Thornley with Greg Lee and Hida to Avest as the wing backs. As for the rest of that backline, I think Greg is obviously at fault for the goal. Overall, other than that, I'd say he had a relatively fine 90 minutes. Same can be said with Sam Long and Kieran Brown. They got rid of a lot in the when Preston were making constant, consistent, deadly moves putting together. Couldn't cap it off. Kieran and Long, he put in some big challenges, some big interceptions. So fair play to him. Volks, this has been Will Volks's weakest performance in Oxford shirt under Gary Rowett. He was fine, got given the runaround a little bit. I think you can expect that, given that we know he's not the most comfortable player on the ball. So when he's, you know, when the opposition you're pressing you so aggressively and so high, you know, you're gonna, if you're a player that's not comfortable like Will Volks, you're probably going to get dispossessed. But he was fine. Brannigan, again, some signs of frustration from Brannigan at times in this game. Just a case of, I think he gets extremely irritated when we've not got possession. That's something you can always see from Brannigan. He wants us to be controlling the football, to be dictating the tempo, and we couldn't do that today. So I think he was lucky also not to get a booking. Rodrigues, obviously Ruben gets the goal. Look, that's the upside of him leading the press as he does. On opposition set pieces, he always essentially sits next to the striker to press, and obviously it turns out well for him in this scenario. 2 goals in 2 games for Ruben. All goals again have been away from home, which is a very odd little quirk of his campaign so far. Matt Phillips, really poor before getting brought off. We've talked about it before, that he gives the ball away quite a lot, does Matt Phillips. This was not a good performance, and I can understand why Gary Rowett brought him into the lineup, because obviously Shemi had been playing, so much of the recent 3 games. But I think if Shemi can't play the next league game against Plymouth, I think it should be Owen Dale, Siriki Dembele starting over Matt Phillips. Goodrum, like I said, he didn't have an awful lot to do. There's not a lot he really could do when you're one of those players that likes to come central with the ball, drive at opposition defences. When your team's not got the ball, you can't really do that. So yeah, it's a forgettable performance for Tyler. And then obviously Sparky gets subbed off, inside 10 minutes. Can't really talk about his performance given the fact that he barely played any of the game, but hopefully that knock isn't too bad. Dane Scarlett, again, we talked about earlier, he's in the graveyard shift, ran his socks off. Again, there's just not an awful lot you can do when your team's not got possession, when you're a player that thrives on, you know, having your back to goal, bringing your teammates into play, there's not an awful lot he could do. Turnervest and Thornley obviously came on for Kioso and for I think it was Matt Phillips as well, wasn't it? Yeah, Turnervest. I'm not sure about him playing in this wing back role when we go to a back three. I'm not entirely sure about it. I think he's much better as a right back, as a pure right back. We're going to talk about in another video the man that's come in that he knows very, very well. So maybe there'll be a bit of a benefit to Turnervest having someone ahead of him that he's played with before. Thornley, like I said, given this was his first performance in God knows how long for Oxford United, really sturdy performance. Got his head on a lot of the crosses and stuff that Preston were putting in, and yeah, fair play to Jordan Thornley. And whether he will stay at the football club during the course of this transfer window, we'll wait and see. But I did theorise, I think I mentioned it on the channel, that obviously Thornley's, the season he had with Blackpool before coming to us on a free transfer was really, really good. So I do wonder if the Championship is maybe more his level, and the fact that he's that kind of defender that does suit better in this kind of situation. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, if Thornley gets a bit more game time. That is if obviously he stays at the football club. Louis Sibley and Siriki Dembele coming on for Ruben Rodrigues and for Tyler Goodrum. Sibley didn't have an awful lot to do. Dembele, as I mentioned a minute ago, looked so bright when he came on. I think this is very much a Siriki Dembele that he's desperate to get his first Oxford goal. He's desperate to put in the yards for a manager obviously he knows so well, and has put the trust in him in his previous job. So I could see Dembele, starting the next match if Sheffield Wednesday isn't able to. At least I would hope so. But yeah, it's like I say, it's a point we didn't really deserve. It's much more, point gained than 2 dropped, given the basis of the performance. Obviously, Luton are still to play tomorrow night against QPR. But for the moment, we sit 17th, a nice 5-point cushion over the drop zone. And yeah, this recent form really bright. Obviously, we've got the FA Cup against Exeter City to come next weekend, and then only a couple of days after that, we are at Home Park to face Plymouth Argyle. Whether Stephen Schumacher will be in place by that point, he is at the moment the man leading the odds to get the Plymouth job after Wayne Rooney's sacking. We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, really positive to kind of 3 wins in Gary Rowett's first 4 matches. Massive 10 points to kind of, it was starting to get really, really twitchy down there, and really nerve-wracking. But for the moment, this form has been, it's come at the perfect time. QPR were the only side in the bottom 8 that won their last match. Obviously, they're yet to play, like I say, tomorrow against Luton. So yeah, no other side around us won, which is perfect for us. So obviously that's going to be a big game, and hopefully we'll be able to get another 3 points. But let me know your thoughts on Oxford's absolute battering at Deepdale. Like I say, it's a point gained over 2 drops as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the 1-1 draw with Preston North End, and there will be another video out very shortly about the first arrival under Gary Rowett of this transfer window. But I'll see you for that video. I'll see you for the review of the Exeter game.